Michael and Chucky too. Slash-a-Holics unite, this one's for you. Calling all Slash-a-Holics, come and dive in. Out of brick terror where the nightmares spin. Every mask and blade, every scream, every fight. Calling all Slash-a-Holics, stay up all night.
Murder Report, an original novel by James Acosta. Chapter 10. Carol just stood there in shock and awe. She wasn't sure what she was going to do now. Worst of all, she now didn't have the final candle that they needed to protect themselves, which meant they were vulnerable. It was Sam that seemed to still have it together. He looked at Carol, shook her slightly, stared straight into her eyes, and said, "Look, we need to get you back home as soon as possible. Right now we're in danger. At least when you're home, you'll have a home-field advantage. So let's get you home. We can't forget that Melanie is now capable of attacking us. She could be anywhere at any time, so let's move." Carol nodded her head vigorously, and they both got into the car. Carol hopped into the driver's seat, and they made their way back to her house. Carol thought about filing a police report, but Sam suggested it wouldn't do any good since the thief was long gone. They made it back to the house about 10 minutes after the incident. They both headed back inside the house and locked the door. When they were inside, Carol and Sam saw for a change that the entire house was clean. However, there was a message written on the kitchen floor in what appeared to be ketchup. It read, "Stay away from Joe or else. This is your final warning. You do this and I'll leave you alone. If you refuse to do so, you'll suffer for it." Sam said, "I am telling you now, Carol, that this is a clear warning." Carol looked at Sam and said, "Well, damn, Sam. You know we can't do that. We need to find a permanent solution to have this ghost leave us the hell alone." Sam nodded his head in agreement and said, "Well, hold on for a second. I'm going to try and call Wanda and see if she can possibly help us." Sam pulled out his cell phone and dialed Wanda's number. After a couple of rings, Wanda answered the phone. Sam explained their whole experience to her, as it had occurred to them. When he was finished talking, Sam waited for her response. "Well, the thing is, I can't help you guys right now. You have to see this to the end. Something needs to happen, and if it doesn't, then you truly will be haunted until the very end. This might not make sense right now, but you and Carol will soon see what I am talking about. Now I have to go. My damn bird is trying to fly out the window again." With that, she quickly hung up the phone. Sam turned off his phone and slid it down his front pants pocket. He turned and looked at Carol with a frown on his face. "What did she say? Can she help us?" Carol asked in an urgent tone. Sam replied, "Well, no, she can't. Wanda said that if she did, things won't work out as planned. I'm not sure what she meant by that, but she said it'll make more sense when the time comes. So it looks like we're on our own." Carol walked over to the couch and just plopped onto it hard. "Well, great. What are we supposed to do now?" Sam just shrugged. "Well, all we can do is carry out the rest of the interview. That's the other thing," she said. "We have to finish our original plan or we'll be haunted forever. I can tell you from everything that we've experienced so far, these ghosts need some kind of closure before they can pass on. It's like they want something from you, or at least one of them does. Nah, screw that. It's like they turn to you for justice. We can't say for sure, but that's what it sort of sounded like when Wanda told me. So if we finish the interview, then maybe all of the hauntings will stop." As Sam bit his lower lip, Carol could tell that he was in some serious thought. She said, "Well then, I guess the only thing left to do is to finish the interview, and we'll just have to see what happens next. What about that warning from that ghost bitch Melanie, who just won't leave us the hell alone?" "Well, Carol, I think we'll just have to wait and see. It could just be a bluff. Wanda sounded like it was urgent to finish her task." Carol sighed. "Okay, then we'll just try to calm down and think about this, although I am getting very hungry." Sam nodded his head in agreement. Carol continued as she stood up from the couch. "I don't think we should leave the house, so I'll make us something to eat. Tacos sound good?" Sam nodded. "Yeah, sounds good to me." As Carol made her way to the kitchen to start making dinner, Sam walked around Carol's living room. He examined some pictures that Carol had on top of her entertainment center. As he was looking at some of the pictures and frames, Sam noticed one picture of Carol holding up a pitch-black cat. He looked around the living room to see any signs of the cat around. From what he could see, there wasn't any. "Hey, I didn't know that you were a cat lover," Sam said. Carol stopped cooking dinner for a second and walked over to Sam. She frowned as she looked at the photo. "Well, I've actually only owned one cat, and that's him. He died about a year ago. His name was Lucky," Carol said. "I know it's ironic that a black cat was named that, but the truth is he was lucky whenever he was a kitten. He almost died. However, I managed to take him to the vet just in time, and the vet saved him. So, after that, I decided to name him Lucky. He lived a long, full life as well. He passed away from old age." "I miss him, though, that is for sure." Sam looked at her and gave a sad smile. "Your cat must have loved you a lot. I'm sure he was grateful to have you." Carol nodded her head and made her way back to the kitchen to finish making dinner. About a half an hour later, the dinner was ready. They sat down at the table to eat. As they were eating their tasty meal, Carol and Sam told each other jokes that were crude, yet funny, and they were laughing and having a good time. Sam had about 3 tacos and Carol had 4. Once they were both done eating, Carol wasn't done for the night. She suggested that they both have a couple of shots of tequila. It had been some stressful times for the both of them, and she figured it would help relieve some tension. Sam took her up on her idea, but didn't like the feeling of being drunk or having a hangover the next day. So he decided to take about 2 shots only. Carol, on the other hand, threw caution to the wind and ended up taking 7 shots of tequila. Things were insane after her consumption of alcohol. She walked over to the radio and turned the music on loud. She started to dance all over the place. She danced as if she didn't have a care in the world. "When ghosts are about, I'll drink about," Carol said with a silly smile. Sam didn't like dancing and chose to sit back on the couch and just watch her having a good time. He noticed that the bottle of tequila flew right off the kitchen table and flew right at Carol. Carol did a couple of dance moves at the same time. She unknowingly moved a few inches out of the bottle's path within seconds. The bottle ended up hitting the wall instead. Completely oblivious to the loud sound of breaking glass, Carol continued dancing as if nothing had happened at all. Sam, however, was in complete shock. He wasn't sure whether to inform her of what had happened or continue to let her just enjoy her dancing. He was still sitting on the couch and found himself half wanting to stand up and half wanting to just sit there. He figured, screw it, I'll let her have some fun. He also decided to make sure that nothing else was going to happen to her, so he kept a close eye on her and everything else, and for a while, nothing seemed to happen. Carol, however, was starting to feel sick to her stomach. All that moving around, the alcohol and the food just didn't mix. The next thing Sam knew, Carol had made a mad dash to the toilet, lifted the lid up, and she lost her lunch. Sam stood up from the couch to walk over to her to see if she needed any help. Carol just stood up from the toilet and was ready for bed. Sam helped her over to her bed by putting his right arm under her shoulder. She stumbled as she made her way over. He helped her slide into bed once he got there. Sam said, "Good night," and pulled the covers over her. In a sleepy, drunk tone, Carol mumbled, "Good night, Sam. I guess I had a little too much fun, but thank you for helping me out with everything." Sam smiled back. "Anything to help out my best friend. You get some rest now. I'm tired too. I'm going to crash on the couch." With that, Sam waved to her and then made his way to the couch and crashed down hard on it. He was exhausted after the day they both had. It was a very long one at that. Things were fine for about 4 hours as they were both fast asleep. Sam dreamed about winning $1 million after purchasing a lottery ticket. He felt something like small little pressure points were placed right onto his stomach. He also felt something bigger rubbing against his chest, enough to wake him up right away. To his amazement, Sam saw a cat standing right on his stomach and upper chest. "What the hell, a cat?" Right away, he remembered Carol was talking about her cat, Lucky. He thought, what if this was the same cat she was talking about? He brushed the idea off right away and figured it had to be another cat or even a stray. Maybe Carol left a window open, perhaps. "No way," It was the same one, Sam thought to himself. He hurried and got off the couch. Sam managed to make his way to the kitchen to turn on the lights. As he did, Sam noticed all the windows were closed. How could a stray cat get inside? The cat was acting weird. It meowed constantly. It sounded almost as if it was worried about something. Sam decided to watch the cat as it ran into the kitchen. At that moment, he smelled something familiar. Sam wasn't quite sure what it was, as he hadn't smelled it in a long time. Another thing was the cat looked exactly like he remembered in the photo with Carol holding up Lucky. It hit Sam hard. "It was the same cat that I saw earlier," Sam said out loud. At that moment, the cat hastily made its way over to the stove and jumped right on top of it. It meowed more and more, and it paced back and forth on top of the stove. As if by magic, his detective skills were working overdrive. The familiar smell and the behavior of the cat, Sam realized the cat had been trying to warn him. "That smell, what is it?" he asked himself out loud, and looked at the stove again. With one more sniff, Sam realized what the smell was. "Holy shit, it's gas!" Sam didn't waste another second. He turned around and made a mad dash to Carol's room. He wasn't sure just how long the gas had been flooding throughout the home. Sam just knew that it must have started shortly after they both went to bed. Sam knew well enough that he wasn't going to take any chances. Once he made it to Carol's bed, Sam hurried and lifted her into his arms and made his way back outside with her. Carol woke up during all this and asked, "What the hell are you doing, Sam?" "No time to explain," he answered back, as he was carrying her in his arms. Sam bolted out the door fast and continued to run all the way down the street. Once he was about 7 or 8 houses away from hers, Sam set her down gently onto the sidewalk. He pulled out his cell phone and said, "We have to call the fire department." A giant explosion that caused the windows to blow out. Carol's house went up in massive flames. It took Carol a few seconds to realize what had just happened. When she did, Carol fell to her knees in complete and utter shock. "My house is gone, everything except for what was in a fireproof safe. My necklace that my mom gave to me as a child, that can't be replaced. It's gone too. What am I gonna do now?" Sam didn't know what to do or say, so he held out his hand to pull Carol back up off the ground. He looked deep into her eyes and said, "I am so very sorry for what happened." Carol grabbed Sam's hand and she pulled herself back off the ground. Everything had happened so fast it took Sam and Carol a few seconds to process exactly what had happened. However, they didn't have time to dwell on things just yet, because they could now hear the sound of the sirens from a fire truck and an ambulance off in the distance. They sure made their way over here pretty fast, Sam thought to himself. He figured it must be pretty slow for them in the middle of the night, so there was nothing to slow them down in getting here in a hurry. The next 2 hours consisted of the firefighters putting out the fire. The police chief showed up. He and the fire chief asked Sam and Carol a bunch of questions. Sam supposed they wanted to rule out the possibility of arson. After Sam and Carol were each finished being interrogated, they were both free to go. Carol's house was indeed destroyed. Nothing was left except for the fireproof safe, which Carol had mentioned earlier. "Can you please keep an eye out for it?" Carol asked nicely. They also at least received a 2-night stay at a local motel for free, courtesy of the fire chief. Considering she was now homeless and she had nowhere else to stay during the middle of the night, Carol was somewhat relieved. She would have to figure something else out after those 2 nights. Carol's cat, however, was nowhere to be found or seen nearby. Luckily, Carol's car wasn't in the driveway or in the garage because it was parked on the other side of the street. "Well, Carol, I suppose we should get out of here now. Don't worry, though, I will drive. I don't think it's a good idea right now for you to do it." "Agreed. Let's get the hell out of here," Carol replied back. They both headed to Carol's car. Carol took the passenger seat in the front, while Sam hopped into the driver's seat. Sam took a look at Carol for a second and realized that she was still shaken up pretty bad. He decided that he had to get her to calm down somehow. Also, Sam didn't know if they would be attacked again in the meantime, so he decided that they were both going to a local 24-hour diner. Sam took the car out of park and made his way to their destination. They were both silent on the way over there. It wasn't until they finally arrived at the diner and finally sat down at the table that they started to talk to each other. When they did, a waitress who seemed like she had seen better years came up to them to take their order. She was a short, elderly woman with red hair. She seemed to be about 45 years old. Her skin had a few wrinkles on it at this point in her life, and she was wearing the classic waitress getup that you'd see in the movies. It seemed like she didn't want to do her job. "Hello there, my name is Sandra. What would you guys like to order?" she asked in a patient tone. "Well, I need a cup of coffee, and do you have any bananas at all?" Sam asked. "Yes, we have some, and you want creamer in your coffee?" Sam just nodded his head. Carol also requested coffee, but no food. She still wasn't feeling very hungry. The waitress looked at them both. "Okay, dears, I'll be back with your orders here shortly." She turned around and left the table. Sam told Carol what he'd experienced. "Carol, look at me and listen to what I have to tell you. It was your cat, Lucky. He saved us. I was asleep on the couch and then I felt some light pressure on me. I woke up and I saw it was a cat. It was your cat. Only I think it was like a spirit cat. It was exactly the same one you had. It was the same one that saved our lives." Carol looked at Sam with a face of utter disbelief. "I don't know what to say. My cat saved us? I wonder why he didn't come to me, and he came to you instead," Carol said with confusion in her tone. "Well, Carol, you were pretty drunk. Maybe she knew that you wouldn't be as responsive as I would have been." This made more sense to Carol. However, before they could continue with the rest of the conversation, the waitress had returned with their orders. She placed them on the table with gentle care. When the waitress was finished, she smiled at them both and said, "If you guys need anything else, just let me know." With that, she again left the table. Once she was out of earshot, Carol talked again. "Well, from what I can gather from all of this is that Wanda is right. We need to hurry and finish so we can get past it." There was frustration in her voice as she took a small sip of coffee. "We almost died tonight, and it wouldn't be the first time we almost died either, and frankly, I am tired of dealing with all of this shit." "Carol, all I can tell you is we need to hurry. I think after we leave here, we'll head to that motel that we went to before. I think it'll be best that we get rested as well, so then we'll pick up Max in the morning. Then we'll wrap up this damn interview once and for all. We gotta stop off at the fire department as well to see if they found your fireproof safe." Carol was listening to Sam carefully until she realized that she had left all the camera equipment in the trunk of her car. If she had brought it inside the house, it would have been destroyed and all of her progress along with it. She was grateful that she had been too tired to bring it into the home. About 20 minutes later, they were relaxed and felt a little safer. They were both ready to head to the motel for the night. However, before they left, the waitress Sandra came up to take the money for their bill. She looked at both of them and said, "Well, you two be safe now. Please be careful. The vengeful spirit isn't finished with you guys yet." Carol and Sam both stared at each other with a shocked look on their faces. She was never within earshot when they talked about the ghost that tried to kill them. Sam looked at the waitress. She seemed as if her eyes were staring not at him or Carol, but as if they were lost, dazed and unfocused, as if she was in some type of trance. This freaked Carol and Sam out, but Sam hurried and just laid the cash on the table. He bolted right out of his chair and he grabbed Carol's hand and both hurried out of the restaurant. As they were about to leave, Carol took one last look back and she saw that no one else was in the restaurant at all. There was no one else around to witness or hear what was happening. They hurried back into the car with Sam at the wheel. Carol was still exhausted, so she fell asleep on the way to the motel. They arrived about 20 minutes later. They both got out of their way to the front office. Fortunately, it wasn't the same motel they stayed at before. Sam gave the voucher to the worker at the front desk. The worker handed them a key and then they made their way to the room, number 17. Once they finally got settled in, Sam offered to stay up and keep watch over the both of them so that Carol could get some much-needed rest. Carol conditionally accepted his offer. "I'll do that, but you have to promise me that you will sleep tomorrow while I drive." Sam promised, and with that, she fell fast asleep on one of the beds. It was going to be a very long night for Sam, as if it hadn't been long enough. Sam stayed up for the rest of the night. He was ever so tired, yet vigilant, as he kept his eyes open wide. He wasn't going to take any more chances of anything else horrible happening to them. At the very least, if anything was to happen, he'd be ready to react. Carol woke up for the day around 7 a.m. Sam was about to nod off when Carol approached him and said, "Hey, I just want to thank you for watching over me. I know you're tired, so let's just get out of here. Like I said, I'll let you rest on the drive over to the fire station and on our way back to the psych ward." Sam nodded his head at her as he stood up from his chair. He pulled out the car keys and handed them to Carol. When they were both ready to leave, they stepped out of the motel room and made their way to the car. Once they both got inside, Sam pulled the passenger seat lever all the way up to lower the seat all the way to the reclining position. That allowed him to lay down and sleep. He closed his eyes and was fast asleep. Carol just gave him a smile, turned on the ignition, and they were off. As Carol was driving, she was thinking about all kinds of things. What was going to happen to them? If they did finish the interview, would the haunting really end? Will these spirits actually have closure and pass on? Carol just couldn't wait to finally be over with all of this. She gave a quick thought to how lucky she had been that Sam saved her, and that camera equipment was still in the car, for that matter. Carol must have lost track of time with all the thoughts going on in her head because they arrived at the fire station before she knew it. What was at least a 30-minute drive felt like half that time to her. Once Carol arrived, she parked in the designated parking spot and shut the car off. She took one more look at Sam before getting out of the car and decided to let Sam rest a while longer. She hopped out of the car and made her way over to the fire station's front office. After Carol left the fire station with the safe, she just couldn't help herself. She had to open it up. Carol wanted to make sure that what was inside was indeed safe. She turned the dial left to 17, then right to 30, and then left to 22, and then one more time to 13. Once it opened up, she checked to make sure everything was safe. Her Social Security card and birth certificate were indeed just fine. Carol's eyes opened wide as she found something that she wasn't expecting at all. It was her necklace that had a locket with a picture of Carol when she was around 8 years old. The same necklace she found just lying on her bedroom floor a few days ago. There was no way that she put it in her fireproof safe. She never put it in there ever, and the last place that she could recall putting it was back in her dresser drawer. Carol didn't want to wear it all the time because it was a gift that her mom gave her for her birthday. The idea of her wearing it just brought up too many painful memories for her. After all, her mom just got up and left her hanging. She looked over at Sam and woke him up. "Sam, wake up! Look at this!" Sam woke up quickly, looking around confused. What's going on?" He looked over and saw that Carol was holding her necklace in her right hand. "You see this?" Carol asked in a desperate tone, hoping for a plausible response. "I didn't put this in my safe, and yet I opened it up and it was in there. I know that you don't know the combo, but I do, so do you think that one of the ghosts happened to place it there?" Sam sat up a bit and bit his lip. Then, "Well, I have heard of ghosts moving objects around and stuff like that, and things disappearing and reappearing in weird places. So, yes, I would have to say that's very much a good possibility. I wouldn't doubt it at all. Actually, if I had to guess, I would have to say it's another sign. I can't say for sure what that sign is, but one of those ghosts wanted that necklace to be safe." "Yes, but why would they do that?" Carol asked with an uncertain tone. "I don't really know, to be honest. Only maybe time will tell," Sam said with a shrug. "We'll just have to finish the interview once and for all. Then we'll just see what's around the corner next." Okay, Slash-a-Holics, this has been Chapter 10 of Murder Report. And boy howdy was it explosive. We got a lot more action in this chapter. I did not see her house exploding. As I'm recording this, it's almost lunchtime. I didn't really have a big breakfast, so tacos sounded really good. My stomach's been growling through the whole narration. But no, James is doing a great job with this book. It is an original story, and he's telling a really good tale here. I'm curious to see how it's all going to end up. I think we've only got 2 chapters left, maybe like 20 pages or something like that, 27 pages, I don't know. Let me see here. 15, yeah, 21 pages, and we're done. So I'm excited to get back into this one. You know, the ghost cat thing kind of touched my heart a little bit because my wife and I have a couple cats, and our oldest one right now is he's so old that he's starting to become a lot more lethargic. He's not eating much, not drinking much. It's just his time. The vet told us it could be any time. So it hit me in the feels, I guess. You know, her cat coming back to from the dead as a spirit to warn her and Sam to get out of the house. So I really enjoyed the chapter. We got a little more information. We got another warning from the spirits. And I love that the waitress at the diner kind of got possessed or something. And, you know, what she said to them was really creepy. It kind of reminded me of like Large Marge, the semi-driver or something, you know. But this time it's a waitress. Without all the claymation scary face stuff. But it was creepy. Although I am about to be 41, and James, you called her an elderly lady at the age of 45, so I've got a bone to pick with you. And, yeah, I'm curious to see why that locket's so important, you know, that it was put in the safe by a spirit, perhaps. But I'll be back very soon with more of this book, Slash-a-Holics. I think we just have chapter 11 and 12 left. Also, be sure to check out Primal, a Friday the 13th story here on the channel. I've dropped the prologue in chapter 1 so far. I'll be dropping chapter 2 soon. I'll also be putting out chapter 1 of Freddy's Dead by Jeremy Terry. I'm going to be finishing up Final Destination, Destination Zero in the near future. And the Friday the 13th, Curse of the Jersey Devil, Act 2 will be on its way sometime this summer. Got a lot of cool stuff coming up. If you're a patron of the channel, check out the Adam Marcus interview that we did the other day. It's going to be on there tonight. And then Saturday morning, it'll be on the companion channel, Slash Tracks Network with Alex. But thank you all so much again, seriously, for sticking with me. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe. Please click that like button and drop a comment. It really helps the channel get grown and recommended more. If you interact with the videos, I'd really appreciate that. Even if it's just a thumbs up or saying hi, a comment and a like goes a long ways. As well as clicking the notification bell so you know when new chapters are coming. And if you'd like to support the channel, if you appreciate all the audiobook content and everything and want to help out and you're able to, please consider becoming a channel member or joining our Patreon. You can even do one-time donations through Cash App or PayPal, or even order a Cameo video. All the information to do these things is in the description below and the pinned comments. You can also pick up a copy of my books, Friday the 13th Quarantine or Celestial Slumber, a Nightmare on Elm Street story. The information to get physical or ebook copies of those books is in the pinned comment and description. And until next time, this has been your friendly neighborhood 80s slasher librarian saying, thanks for listening, be excellent to each other, and remember, stay sane inside insanity. Good night.
Calling all Slash-a-Holics unite. He's longer haunting me. Leather pages, bound in grime, out of print, blood frozen in time. Voices crawling from the past, every chapter a scream that laughs. In me, in me, in me. It's been enough. In me.
Each tale turns razor sharp. His voice strings you like a harp. Silence screams behind locked doors. Librarian knows you're craving more.
Fingers clutch at well-worn spines, bleeding thought to shadowed lines. Out of print but never out of mind, he reads the fears you'll always find.